Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Taijiquan. Another pre-recorded video for Water Tiger's YouTube channel. Today, we're actually going to finish a long series we've been doing with these particular videos. Started back in the day with our Facebook Live for Sachem Public Library and West Babylon Public Library. Seems eons ago, but it was started in March of 2020. As a matter of fact, we're doing the other half of something, sort of, today. We are finishing our series on the Tai Chi lottery, which, if you look through our collection, you will find videos in the Facebook Live series, in the Water Tiger for Sachem New series, and the Tai Chi and Qigong training series. And you'll find all 11. This is the 11th. And by the other half of a coin, what I mean is all the way back in August of 2020, when there was a Facebook Live for Sachem, Water Tiger for Sachem, that was minimal from the 11 lottery slips. This is Maximal, and the last of, as I said, those 11. So that's our main focus today. Variety is the spice of Tai Chi. And our warm-up, we're going to continue what we started with our previous video, which is something that's new for us at Water Tiger School. The 5 loosening exercises of Huang Xingxiang. We ran across reference to them in an article in a now defunct print publication. They still publish things online. I think it's taijijournal.com or .org or something. I don't have that URL. But Taijiquan Journal started after the turn of the century, after the 2000, and published for a number of years. And we, a while back, were able to get the entire print run and have been reading through them and flagging articles that really connected with this. And there was a 2-part series. I believe it was fall and winter of '01 that were 13 questions and answers on the Tao of Taijiquan by Huang Xingxiang. And one of the answers to one of the 13 questions included reference to his 5 loosening exercises. We had to do some research because they were not described. And we brought them into our lineage as best we can from the resources that we found. So today our warm-up is going to be the second of the 5. Previous video, we did the first. We will play our way through the 5 as we do Tai Chi and Qigong, some of the Qigong. We're probably about due for another animal frolic, and if you've been following us, you know what that warm-up's going to be. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into this puppy. We have sort of, I think, figured out what our groove is, and about every 2, 3, maybe in some instances 4 weeks, we'll post a new video. So there you go. And I suppose before I get too far away from the camera, I should do the t-shirt reveal. This too, as you know, we're sort of in rerun now with my t-shirts. This first made its appearance early in the sequence. As a matter of fact, I believe it might have been our first video, March 23rd of 2020. For a Facebook Live session. It was Water Tiger for Sachem, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to back away, move my med ball that I use for a chair, bring my iPhone, because I'm going to need it for a timer for the exercise, and play. Just shake, rattle and roll. Notice I have more layers on. Again, if you've been following the series, you know, 1, that means that this particular video, must have been shot in the winter in the Atlantic Northeast. Because my little practice space, my workout space, and you can't really see the pull-up bar that's over here. The weights that are over there, you can see the not elliptical bicycle, the recumbent bicycle that's there, that sort of thing. This is also a workout space. It's also our broadcast studio for Water Tiger School. So anyway, it happens to be in a basement, and that basement is well insulated, but not heated. So it gets a little nippy in here in the winter. So sort of our impression of some of the foci, not all of them, of the 5 loosening exercises, joint-to-joint movement. So you're getting away from that straight arm thing that a lot of people tend to come to our Tai Chi with. How small incremental movements in the core, in the body, can lead to larger movements that unfold because of the smaller movements. In other words, I'm not pumping my arms, I'm letting the breath and the movement of the rest of the body sort of generate that movement at the extremities. So subtlety, movement and relaxation, intense sort of leading the exercise with breath as well. So the second is a little bit more complicated than the first. The first, you might remember, is that up and down movement with that shifting of the weight. And you can already see sort of where the arms would end up going just naturally. So organic movement is part of this, right? There's another, again, a sink and a rise, but it's done on a 4 count. And it's very slow, not very slow, but let me re-rhyme. It's actually rather quick. There's no breaks. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. They follow one right after another. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. That's the rhythm. A lot of folks might be challenged if they keep the count in their head and add the upper body movement, because then the upper body movement tends to want to happen as rapidly too, and that's not really the case. And that, as you may have already witnessed from my little starting demonstration, is going to be that cross of the arm, switching back and forth, left over right, right over left, left over right, right over left, and opening up just a comfortable amount, and that extension based on gravity and organic movement. And that's the exercise. Don't worry. We have no evidence that your head will explode if you cross over with the right and cross over with the right a second time. So don't get caught up if that happens. You haven't broken any laws. You just lost a little bit of the mindfulness of making that switch happen. And it happens to the best of us. As if you look up these exercises online, you might run across a video of, Huang Xingxiang doing the exercises and doing just that, as a matter of fact, for the second exercise. So I'm going to set my timer here again. And don't get caught up in the 4 count. Find that 4 count rhythm. And then let the arms swing as they will. You might find a pattern within that, and you might not. And either is okay. So Huang Xingxiang's second in his 5 loosening exercises. And we're about to have a walkthrough there she is, by Luna. So you just sort of get a little bit of Luna there. We're going to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start with a rise and doing that sinking down and doing that rising up and doing that that sinking down. We're going to go for about 2 minutes and do that rise up and sinking down. And notice I'm not going down too deep. Again, part of that is because of the rapid count. Breathing, letting the movement, both the small sink and rise and the swinging of the arms, unfold over the course of long inhalations and long exhalations. So I'm not upping the speed of my breath either. We're about a minute in. We're going to go for 2 minutes. Chest sunk, back slightly rounded. Even as I'm doing this swing, I'm keeping that relaxation underneath the arms, crown point of the head to the heavens, base of the pelvic bowl, anchored toward the earth, spine hanging like I don't know, perhaps a string of pearls. Another walk through of Luna, maybe better on camera. Yep, there's more of her. Life with furries. By the way, just a few days, speaking of furries. Year of the Water Tiger. Forgot to preview the ending. So the next time you rise, all that happens is you let the arms fall into the thighs. And there you go. The second of the 5 loosening exercises or relaxation exercises from Huang Xingxiang. They're used in the context of, if you haven't sort of gleaned the subtleties and the details of the 5 loosening exercises, you will not be able to properly apply your Tai Chi. So, maximal. What was minimal? As little movement as possible. So, everything was in a little bit closer, a little bit more subtle. Maximal is going to be broad. We're going to give you a couple of examples. One going to rails, and rails with a rotation. So much more dramatic movement. We still want things to be connected. The thing with the lottery exercises can be we get caught up in this slip. Really big movement, really small movement, moving like a robot, being drunk, and not allowing that to sort of bring out a particular aspect of our play while keeping the underlying principles also going. So we still want to find body connection through the whole body. We still want a certain fluidity in what we're doing, even if we're going a little bit extreme with it. So I have my little blue lines taped out for shoulder width. Water Tiger School defines shoulder width by where the drop of the shoulder is. Now, some people will have the tendency to think, oh, I'll be more solid if I'm wider. Not really. You'll work harder. Or I'll be better off if I'm closer together. No. When we first introduced shoulder wide, we talked about, if you're shoulder wide and you're sort of bouncing with some vigor, back and forth between your feet. By our shoulder width description, it's rather easy to do that. I don't have to work too hard to create this little pulse from side to side. I don't have to work too hard to hold myself in place. As a matter of fact, I'm allowing myself to stay in place. If I go just outside of my shoulder width, you can see the legs are now working harder to create the pump. I don't go anywhere, but they work harder to do. And if I'm inside of shoulder width, my legs are really tense. And if I relax my legs at all, I can't be at my shoulder width, but I can't maintain my ground. So there's a reason that we do this. But this is our shoulder width. If it's different than yours, in your lineage's approach to Tai Chi, you might want to do the same thing that I have done and tape out the blue lines so you can at least get a sense of what it is we do. You may not agree with it, You may, and that's fine. But you might come to an understanding of why we feel the way that we do about this. But walking the rails, as a basic exercise, hands in one of a handful of different positions. I think there's a pun there. And all rails is as if walking on railroad tracks. This exercise was kind of stolen and reinterpreted by somebody who did something that was called a cowboy walk. But, and a little casual closing, we kind of made it harder. Rotation, we set the size of a ball the same as if we're in the preparatory position of something like, say, Parting Wild Horses mane. That's not Luna, that's Sasha. And that sort of forming or holding a ball moment is the size of our torso for Water Tiger School, which we define as sort of base of neck into maybe the throat and sort of pubic bone level. And that ball should stay that same size here as here. We can have a tendency when the direction is the size of your torso to be the size of my torso wide and then the size of my torso high. So we make that switch, but it should rotate out away because it maintains that size of torso. I think we're playing tag. So standard approach to walking the rails, right hand, right leg full, step, left hand, left leg full, step. And there's a certain fluidity here. There's not a stop, although some people have to stop when they first start this just to, okay, do I have my vertical alignment? So that sort of thing. So this is, again, a basic walking the rails exercise with the fundamental approach to rotating the ball. But if we approach this from a maximal standpoint, pulling the slip, I realized as we went live with the cameras, nobody bothered to grab my little lottery slips, so I don't have the slips to fan out to you. Traditionally, what we do with lottery is, pre-COVID, pull out the slips, hold them out in front of a student, and let them choose their own slip, and then put them back in. Well, we're maintaining physical distance in the studio this time. So, we can come inside of the 6 feet radius briefly and move back out of it. The less contact, the better. So I'm, in this instance, what I might do is fan them out and sort of count where they are and then tell somebody to pick a number and then count and pull that slip, and it's for the group. Or I might simply just pull the slip myself. They don't have to be big or anything. And those 11, let's see if I get through it. Drunken, Dalton X, which is sort of like Dalton playing Tai Chi in the movie Roadhouse, so every muscle active. Tall, short, tall, highest stance as possible, short, shortest stance as possible. Quicksilver, as quickly as possible. Molasses, as slow as possible. Round, a round emphasis to the movement. Straight, the straight emphasis to the movement. Minimal, maximal, and Mr. Roboto, which is very joint-focused movement. So anyway, with maximal, I'm going to take more dramatic steps, but still shoulder wide. I'm going to have a much bigger ball. So, just one pass here. It's kind of a brief introduction. You might have to rewind a couple of times to get this. I might have just lied and we'll do a second pass. Maybe I'll do a pass away from the camera. So settling in, no expectation. Your ball might be larger, longer arms, longer legs, might be smaller, whatever works for you. But again, right hand, right foot. Left hand, left foot. Right hand, right foot. Left hand, left foot. I'm sort of off my rhythm here. Right hand, right foot. Left hand, left foot. right hand, right foot, left hand, left foot, right hand, right foot, and a close. That went better in rehearsal. But that's sort of the idea, right? So I'm going to do another pass toward the camera, then maybe one away. So settling in, finding that rhythm, ignoring the fact that the camera is going, etc. And you even make the step a little bit more dramatic. That's the last step. So big maximal movements, but still round. Whatever size it is here, should be here, should be here. Elbows, wrists still open. Hands, this is one that people miss a lot. Hands conform to the size of the ball. So if I happen to be doing minimal and I have this very small ball, my hands should cup to the size of the small ball. And as the ball gets bigger, the hands get flatter to feel the reality of the surface of that ball, which is very real up and down, but not real forward and back. Or I'd have to do this to hold a ball that was that big. So rails with rotation, with the maximal choice from the 11 lottery approaches. So I'm going to play through the beginning of Water Tiger's approach to the 24. That's 3 Party in the Wild Horses mains into, so I have Party in the Wild, this is very casual, you know, opening is, you know, more or less this. So I'm doing this a little bit more formal, but a little bit closer to how we would actually play the form. This is our Party in the Wild Horses main. Right in front of the sun, their chest, palm down. And that was 2. There wouldn't be a stop, of course. Then we have this sort of form the ball moment, a little chancy, a little silk reeling, high press as a transition, not a posture, and white crane. And again, a casual closing. Water Tiger is very big on doing the casual closing. If for no other reason, you know, maybe sort of kind of esoteric, it lets the body, the mind, and the chi know, hey, I'm done with this. On a little bit more practical, you get the opportunity to experiment, experience, explore whole body movement. You know, so even though we call it casual, I have movement through the whole body. And I don't just bring my hands to my center. I either sink down because I raised up, or I've sunk down with the hands down, so I raise up. So you see movement through the whole body, brings the hands to the dantian. So you get experience that idea that everything's connected. If part of me moves, all of me moves. If part of me is still, all of me is still. So that may actually be a good thing. Somebody write a note. It might be a good topic to address at some point in this series. Oh, I'm going to open this. So that was sort of the traditional way that we do it, more or less. So maximal, again, more dramatic movement, for the lack of a better way of putting it. So going big and exaggerating in my movement. There's almost, to me, sort of what I feel is a little bit of a drunken quality to what I'm doing. I almost did word off there. Oops, and almost fell there. Which is one of the reasons I love shaking things up with variety, is you challenge yourself. You know, again, better in practice, in rehearsal. But that's not using that as an excuse. There's no reason it shouldn't have been better here as well. But when you shake things up, sometimes things get stirred. So you have to take a moment, take a breath, play a little Taiji detective. And it's like, exactly why did that happen? Well, some of it can be, instead of being inside myself, which is what we're always supposed to do regardless of the circumstances, it should not matter. Part of me is like, how do I look on camera? Because I have the monitor. Bad instructor. So again, just big, whatever it is, whatever form you do, whatever walking exercise you do or floor exercise you do, just for the sake of experimentation and shaking up what you think you know about this art that you play. Get bigger! No expectation, so whatever happens, it's a pleasant surprise. Just sunk back rounded, that doesn't change. Big, broad, dramatic movement, still ideally. I'm seeking to, by the time the ball is formed, the foot is there. So there's no holding of the ball. There's just one movement into the next. Like that little flare. And there you go, folks. Taiji lottery. 11 different choices. There might be 12 at some point. Hell, somebody might suggest a 12th approach in the comments below. Remember, the YouTube channel, everything's previewed because the YouTube algorithms don't seem to catch hot links to, shall we say, hot dates. So if you think this is dumb and have a way of expressing that with respect, we'll send that through, right? But if you have an idea, an 11th category, feel free to share it here. On the Facebook page, of course, comments are open. That doesn't mean that if somebody throws something disrespectful, it's going to stay on the Facebook page. But there you are, Maximal. From Water Tigers, Taiji Lottery. You never know what you're going to get. And there are so many different things that we have done, you know, within our lineage and then also within this series that approach this particular idea that, you know, beyond just these 11 lottery slips, you know, playing blindfolded, playing with weights, playing being bound, etc. So, as always, I hope you were a little entertained, maybe a little surprised, maybe found a little worth in what it is that we've presented here for you. And you'll come back next time, or maybe spend some time going through our catalog. We've been logging videos on a regular basis now since early March, and the catalog's getting up there. We're well over 100 videos now, and still growing. We might start, if we ever see the light at the end of the tunnel and it's not the light from an oncoming variant, we might spread out the videos a little bit more than they currently are. But at this time, we are planning on keeping the YouTube channel alive. It's not just going to freeze where it is. So thank you for your time and attention. I've already talked about the comments thing, so I don't have to hit on that. Take care, stay safe, wear a mask. Be careful, it's wet out there. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.